That was it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep, admittance. All right, so we are live right now.
Woo!
All right, welcome everybody and any who wish to join. This is another
Hello.
episode. This is another episode of a Peace of Mind where I bring you a veteran of some sort and their creative hobbies. And of course, just like last time, to try and help relieve all of those stereotypes you hear about veterans, because they are more than just their military service. So with me
Right.
today, I have co-host Lycan
Hello.
and the one and the only MyHappySelf Israel Wright.
Yeah. How's it going, everybody?
All right, let me. I forgot to switch that over. All right,
Was that it? We're done, right? That's all I needed to do.
that was completely it. We're done now.
Okay.
So I came across you. I think like how many people came across you was on Gameology.
Yeah. Experts React.
Yes, good old experts. So if you get, oh, what is that? Oh, okay, whew, thought that was something. An error popped up. Freaked me out for a second.
Nobody's hearing any of this.
Yeah, right. Um,
Okay.
that would, yeah. Well, that would suck. So, of course, experts react. I mean, you're an expert. What exactly were you an expert of?
Well, I was a Special Forces Green Beret. I was in the U.S. Army Special Forces Green Beret. I was in the U.S. Army Special Forces Green Beret. There's one of them, and I was in it. I was in the Army from 2005 to 2010, and yeah, and then my MOS was 18 Echo as a Special Forces Communications Sergeant. So, kind of a short career in terms of joining kind of an elite unit like Special Forces, but I had a really good time, and so that's that's kind of where my expertise kind of comes in. I'm actually I've been forced through the Gameology Experts React videos to try to really get some of my knowledge back because I've been out for 11 years. You know, I got out in 2010,
Yeah.
and so I carry with me the honor and the prestige and the pressure of being a Green Beret into the public eye. But so it's been good. It's been good. Like I have to like go back and like learn like what's the effective distance
Yeah.
shrapnel distance on a grenade and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, yeah, because I know what you mean on when it comes to Gameology. I mean, even I'll admit I fell for it too. I was like, "Oh wow, he's a Green Beret. He must know a lot of shit." Clearly, it might have faded a little
you'd be
bit.
wrong.
Yeah. um, it's cool, man. When I was in Afghanistan, I actually came across two Green Berets that were from your time, and they were kind
Wow.
of, the same concept. What they were doing was a little classified, but you know, their knowledge on those things, because I was always hanging out with them, and they were just like, "Oh yeah, did you do this?" And I'm like, "That's a little outdated, man." And he was like, "Really? Like already?" And I was like, "Yeah, man." And one of the funny things, apparently his one of I guess one of their ideas that their team did or something was routing the radio through the vest and doing like routing it a certain way. And
Uh-huh.
he was just like, "Hey, where did y'all get that?" He's like, "Did you make it?" I'm like, "Nah, dude, this came issued." He goes, he was pretty pissed because apparently his team kind of like front they were like the test subjects for it, and they kind of like thought of the idea, but they didn't. He didn't ever he never got any credit for it. So it's just one of the little funny things.
Yeah, you've
Yeah,
mentioned
man.
before that there was like kind of a drama between you get those two branches, right?
Oh no, that's something
How,
different. But no. So what I was talking about was a piece of equipment and how it got improved over the years, and he was just like one of the hard chargers for improving that piece of equipment. So that's what he was pissed about
Mm.
because they were always telling him like, "No, we're gonna do it this way," and then lo and behold, it got changed anyways to how he was saying it should be changed to. Between between me and good old Israel's units, I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but SFAB and the Green Berets
Uh-huh.
had a bad start.
Ah.
Yeah, and that's because SFAB was kind of modeled after the Green Berets, and I don't know who was in charge of the uniforms and who was in charge of SFAB overall, but they had a whole hard on for the Green Beret. So they even tried to take the Green Beret. Um, so
Really?
yeah, I don't know how full that story gets. All I know is that happened, and ever since then, the Green Berets had been staring at us kind of like in a bad way because like I'm just a part of the unit where it happened.
Man, that's wild.
Yeah,
Yeah, so much has changed since I was in, man.
yeah, and yeah, start from the beginning. What you got in? Like, what were you expecting when you came in as an 18 Echo?
Oh man, I mean, so I was living in Santa Clarita out here in the LA County area in California, and I was trying to be an actor, but I didn't really know what that meant, so I was just doing a lot of background work. Like you can see me in Memoirs of a Geisha and
Oh wow.
like a straight to video House of the Dead movie. Uh, so House of the Dead, yeah, yeah, it was the video. No, not House of the Dead. That was the one based off the video game. House of the Dead 2. So the even more low budget House of the Dead 2.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was. You can go look for those later on, but so I actually joined with a Ranger contract initially because I thought I wanted to do something that was like out there. Yeah, I want to do something that was out in the field, man. I want to do something active, you know.
Yeah.
And so I got a pretty good. Wait a minute, ASVAB score. Is that ASVAB? Why do you guys have the same acronym as the
Oh
as
no no no
the
no SFAB security force.
SFAB?
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Yeah,
ASVAB
all
and
these
SFAB.
acronyms
Okay.
get
Okay.
confusing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like there's not enough of them. Okay, I'm glad we cleared that up. But halfway through basic training, I met a bunch of guys that were reclassing and getting ready to go to selection. And I became really good friends with one of them, TJ, my good buddy to this day. And he's like, "Hey, man, you should do Green Berets." And I'd heard about it from my recruiter, but he didn't really do a really good job of like kind of expounding upon just kind of what a full spectrum
Yeah.
experience a Green Beret could be. I was like, man, that sounds really fun. You know, that sounded like more what I wanted to do. And so I had my contract changed to 18 X-ray, and I went with them. We all PCSed over to Fort Bragg after airborne school. Now, when I was sitting in the when I was sitting in the airport getting ready to leave for basic training, I was like, man, what did I do? Because it was a really short period of time between walking into the recruiter's office and leaving for the army. It's about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it all that much. I'm like, I'll do this I'll join the army for a couple of years. That'll be fun. Get some experience, you know, deploy maybe, and then come back and pursue acting like I did, like nothing had ever happened.
Yeah. Right.
My experience, you know, the beginning stages of the army, you know, basic, advanced, airborne, all that kind of stuff. Like I do well with structure, you know, and I take orders pretty easily. I'm a pretty accommodating personality, you know,
Yeah.
and so I'm also pretty physically fit. So when I went in, I took to that stuff pretty easily. Like, you know, when we did bunk inspections in basic, my locker, and bunk were the standards by which everyone else had to kind of like formulate their format, you know, their locker and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
liked all that stuff. I liked the structure and all that kind of stuff. But so I had a pretty overall I had a pretty unique experience in the military because my mindset was such that I always knew I was going to get out in a couple of years. So I always felt like I was just like I'm just visiting, you know, I'm just visiting the army, you know,
Yeah.
being here for a little while, I'm going to get out, you know, and so I don't know that I ever like. I'm so glad that I joined the military. Let me say that, you know, at the outset, it was the best decision I ever could have made. You know, even though I didn't even understand the full implications of what it meant to join.
Right.
But like I didn't really. I had no expectations. I had no idea of what it would be like. Yeah, so it's just kind of interesting to think about that. But I look back, I'm like, I guess I just kind of did it, you know.
Yeah.
What they told me to do, okay, I'll go do that. And they told me to do this, okay, I'll go do that. And I just kind of did it, you know. So it was, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that whole mindset I think bleeds over real easily to everybody because there is. I mean, even if you don't, even if you get out of basic not feeling that way, there was a moment in basic where it's just like, go do this, okay. and you just went off to go do it. There's a lot of that.
Maybe they did a good job. Yeah.
Say again.
Or maybe they did a good job of a doctor.
I,
Maybe I'm just like, oh, seems like a good idea to me.
yeah, right. So you kind of, all right. You kind of came in, did one term. I really was, I really thought it was a long term. Clearly, because of the unit you were in, that's a lot of those guys. You
Mm-hmm.
hardly hear about them getting out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but so when you got in, and you finally made it through and everything. How did that go? How was your mindset during the Green Beret tour?
So I graduated early 2007, and I PCS. I moved over to Fort Lewis, Washington. I think they call it Joint Base Lewis McChord now, and it was man, it was. I'm trying to think of like me going in there. I kind of came at like a quiet time.
Yeah,
When you first get there, they need to wait for a slot to open up on a team, right? So you kind of go to the B team, the kind of headquarters element, the kind of offices, and you're just kind of hanging out doing whatever. And I was actually really lucky. I
okay,
got Amish, not really have too much going on.
kind of dropped out. You were really lucky, and then I didn't hear nothing.
I was really lucky in that when I got there, I was kind of just hanging out in the headquarters element, and there was a this guy sergeant getting out, like he was out processing, so they kind of moved him off his team and kind of in the office area just to kind of give him a space to be while he was out processing, and he was like really into the new guys and trying to get them training, trying to send them to schools and stuff like that. Um, and so he actually, like, when I got there, not long after I got there, he got me a 6-week training in Hawaii for some like comm stuff. And so I got to go to Hawaii for 6 weeks, off nights and weekends, really super easy training,
Yeah,
wearing civilian uniforms the whole time. And so I got to bring that with me when I went to my first team, so it was really, I'll always be thankful to him because he was just really proactive in like trying to help the new guys out,
yeah,
because I went in, like being the 18 X-ray experience for me is like you're going in from the street, and you normally, for selection and going to special forces, you're in the army and then you drop a packet and then you go try out at selection. Well, I'm just like a normal guy, and then I go basic, advanced, airborne training. You do all the stuff, and you're kind of doing this training that's you do small unit tactics, but then you go to like comms training for 16 weeks, and it's a lot of class work, and it's like I didn't get like a lot of the formations and the left right left and a lot of the kind of like the kind of regular squad stuff, the regular platoon stuff that is the experience for a lot of people. So I never really, I don't know. It was interesting. Then you go to kind of an elite unit, and things are run just a little bit differently there, And when you get onto a team, it's yeah, you're the new guy, you're the FNG and stuff like that. And I got a little bit of that when I got to my first team, but I worked hard, and that didn't last very long. But it's like you're just like in it, You're like, okay, we're gonna do this today. All right, let's do that. We do that today. Okay, we're training up and do this, and it's just kind of like, we didn't go to formations. We didn't march
yeah.
around anywhere. There was a lot of ceremony and stuff like that. We did a few things here and there, but I don't know. It was this really kind of interesting, kind of non-formulaic, non-streamlined existence when I got there. Being on the team and all that kind of stuff. So I'm very thankful for it because, like, I'm sure I would have thrived in a regular kind of unit kind of lifestyle and stuff. But
Oh man.
I kind of got to be in this, do tell.
Yeah. So seeing how you are, I'm glad you didn't get put into a regular unit. Not saying that it would have messed you up, but the go happy kind of guy I see all the time on the stream probably wouldn't be the same due to him. Because you would have gotten in the infantry had you not, because that's where they send all the 18 X-rays anyways.
Sure.
But
But
Oh my God, man! The average infantry unit, any of those guys that tell you, it's hard. It's pretty hardcore because they always just like it's a lot on people. Especially new guys. It's a lot on the new guys, and they either make or break you, right? Either way could be good or bad, but majority of the ones I've seen, like those new guys, they do not look happy at all, and then they either follow with the herd, or they have that mindset like, hey, I'm getting out soon. I just I'm doing what I got to do, and that's it. So, but everybody's experience differs. It's not just like that's all there was. It's just the ones I saw were
Right.
like that, of course. And I really want to say you not getting into an average unit really helped you keep that mentality that you had. It didn't degrade it. It didn't hurt it like it has some people. So I'm glad for that. I'm glad it didn't do all that to you because you wouldn't be as crazy as you are now. I want to say.
I wonder, man. I'm definitely glad. I say this often whenever like any young guys come into my stream or ask me DMs over it. I know I don't regret one day I spent in the military. Like I really like there were hard days and stuff, and there were hard seasons. But I look back on all of it, and I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't trade those experiences for anything else. So
Yeah, yeah, that's true. There's a lot of experiences you take with you once you do get out. Um, so during your time in and during your so you said you were getting into acting, so you had a creative side prior to getting in.
yes.
During your time in, though, was your creative side still active, or was it kind of like suppressed from just you're nonstop doing something?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I definitely say like I didn't do any pursuits of anything like acting or anything really kind of not all that creative when I was in. So I guess you could say it was just kind of dormant,
Yeah,
like my I know we're talking about like what your hobbies and stuff like that are like I played video games almost my entire life, and I could still do that while I was in. I brought a system over with me to Iraq,
yeah, yeah,
and so I still got to play games over there. So that was kind of like the holding pattern while I was in, But no, I didn't do any. I got guffed for being like a theater major, and I happened to mention that I was a minor in dance when I was in college, and I got a bunch of course, I got a bunch of guff for that,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, but no, there was no my where I thrived, and I think where I was able to like kind of satisfy myself in the day to day is I like having something to do. Like I like focusing on one task, one thing at a time, and I like organizing and stuff. So I would do things like I stayed late one day after the workday to reorganize the comms locker that had all the equipment, all the wires, and all the radios and all the satellites in it. It's this giant wire locker that I was in charge of, and I was there till like 3 o'clock in the morning. I took everything out and I put it all back in the way I wanted it. So things like that, like if I have a kind of my dad likes to say, and I guess it's kind of true. I have kind of like what's called a phlegmatic personality, where like if you tell me to do something, I don't want to do it. Like I'll slump down to the floor and I'll be a sandbag, and I like you. I don't want to do it. But if you
yeah,
let me alone, I'll go do it. I'll go do it on my as long as I don't feel that pressure. And I've gotten better about that. Obviously, there's pressure in the military that you have to rise to the occasion for.
yeah,
But on a day-to-day basis, my struggle has been like, especially with what I'm doing right now with content creation. I don't have a lot of I don't have set hours. I have to create my own hours and stuff. So I've had to like kind of get back into that kind of mindset, military mindset. But like, cause like I'll sleep in until 11 o'clock, I'll play video games all day,
yeah,
and I know
yeah.
that about myself. So thank God for that military discipline, because it's like, I know myself well enough to know what my weaknesses are.
That's a plus.
So you're also the type to fix crooked paintings.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. There you go.
So you're sick in the head, that's for sure. No.
Oh, that's good. That's a good thing. I wish I had more of that discipline,
No,
honestly.
I've seen. I mean, so first off, as the commo guy, because I've seen a little bit of that. My commo guy was, man, he pretty anal about his commo stuff too. But you can't be relaxed about it. It's a lot of shit to take care of. So
Yeah, title equipment. There's a lot of it.
Yeah, that's like I mean, clearly it's a big part of just being in the military. Man, that's crazy.
Uh,
So your creativity kind of was like it was kind of suppressed, but to an extent, because as you said, you were able to play games here and there. You're able to reorganize whatever you felt needed reorganizing.
mhm.
It was trying to get out, but you were just using it and directing it towards the military gain. um,
Yeah, it took on a different flavor and a different color.
yeah, that's actually really interesting because uh, personally, me, I just stopped. I didn't I didn't have my instruments. I wasn't writing music. I was just like, Pleh. I was done. Um, so with all your creativity doing all that, what made you kind of wanna? Yeah, I mean, yeah, you already had an idea you wanted to get out. Was there any motivation from the creativity for trying to get out, or was it just you just wanted to do that one term?
No, I mean, the idea, the plan from the very beginning was to go in, do a few years, and then get out and go to LA and pursue acting. That was always the plan. You know,
Yeah.
when I joined, I was like, I was 24 at the time. It was early 2005,
Oh wow.
and so I said, "Oh, I'll go in. I'll do a few years, and I'll be out, and I'll be under 30. I'll just keep going. And so yeah, that was always the plan. I remember talking to my team sergeant. I was on two different teams, and on my second team, Tom, my team sergeant, I was talking to him. I'm like, I could stay in. They were getting ready to go to Afghanistan for the first time, and I wanted to have both. I would check both those blocks. I wanted to go Iraq and Afghanistan. And he's like, you know what, man? If you got something you want to do, go do that. There's always going to be a reason to stay. They're always going to offer you a deployment or more money or a school or training or whatever you want to stay to get you to stay longer. He's like, but if you got something to do, go do it. It's like, oh, I really appreciate it. That kind of gave me,
Yeah.
that kind of sealed the deal for me.
Man, that's why I said I'm glad you didn't get into an average unit. And I mean, I'm pretty sure you hear and you've heard some of the words that people have said to keep people in. It's always there's nothing good on the outside. You can never make it. All this. It's just like
Oh my gosh, who's saying these things?
everybody. I've seen a whole first sergeant have a hissy fit because the soldier was getting out, an E4 of all people.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad in the average units. But you had some good people directing you properly.
Mm,
You had
mm.
something you wanted to do and you did it. So when you got out, what was the plan? Like you got out, you wanted to act, and then like what was the next step?
I mean, I remember driving my U-Haul, pulling my car down, driving down the coast to California. But I mean, the plan was to, I got it back into Santa Clarita. I actually moved back in with my aunt and uncle who were still there at the time. And I mean, the plan was to have a plan. I mean, it ended up, I ended up using the majority of my post 9/11 GI Bill for massage school, actually, which ended up being a
What?
really good. Yeah, yeah. The post 9/11 GI Bill for massage school. I went to massage school from about late 2009, late early 2010 to like early 2011, basically, and paid for it. That ended up being a really good idea because up until even just recently, I've been doing massage, and that's a nice thing where you kind of make your own schedule, have your own clients.
Yeah.
It pays pretty well for what you do, and so that was really good. I ended up, I got into CrossFit in the military. Actually, the Special Forces units got into CrossFit kind of before a lot of the general public did,
Of course.
and so I was already doing that, and so I found a gym. I was actually competing at the time, so I met this guy, JP, at regionals down in Irvine in like 2010 or something like that. And he's like, I'm opening up a gym in West Hollywood. And I was like, dude, I want to come. And so I joined. It's a gym called Brick out here in LA, and ended up coaching there. So that was really good because those were flexible hours and pretty good pay. And I worked in a gym, so I got to stay in shape.
That's pretty
Um,
awesome.
so yeah. It was a really, really good job. There's a lot of good people there, and that place being kind of in the heart of Hollywood and the industry, I met a lot of cool people that were working in the industry. I got, ended up getting some headshots out of there. I got a few opportunities out of there for acting, and it was it ended up being like a perfect kind of deal. And then it just kind of started. It all kind of fell together, and I kind of I was in the environment, and that kind of helped to facilitate all the opportunities. I met some good people and good opportunities, and I would say that, sometimes life ebbs and flows. And so I would say, I pursued it. I was taking classes. I was doing the thing. And then 2016, I took a year off. I was like, this thing is not really happening right now. And I need to take some time and just like let go of all the pressure, just live my life, have fun, travel, do whatever. And so I did that for a whole year, 2016.
Yeah.
And then 2017 came around. I'm like, you know what? Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, yeah, being a bum, I gets it.
Yeah, it was good. In 2017, started it back up. I was like, I'm going to do this. This is my job. Treating it like it's my job, going after it day after day, and I did that. And acting is one of those professions where you put a lot of effort into it, and you don't see the payout, right away. It's a lot of relationship building. It's a lot of like sowing seeds, and then kind of years later, those seeds germinate and bear fruit, And so it was happening. I would say in terms of like what I was at in the pursuit of a career, which can take a long time to build, I was on my way. And then in 2019, I don't know exactly. I was having second thoughts. I'd actually had a head injury in late 2018, which really affects me to this day. It was a downhill mountain biking in Mammoth, and I hit my head, and I didn't go have it looked at. I just I thought I'll be fine, and it ended up really affecting kind of the whole 2019 year. And with that, oddly enough, I saw an interview. It was like those Hollywood Reporter roundtables on YouTube where they get all the artists together, directors, writers, actors. And Chadwick Boseman, I remember them talking to Chadwick Boseman at the time, and they said, what would you like people to know about the profession of acting? And he's like, look, it's a lot of long hours, and it's a long time away from your family, it's a lot of uncertainty, things like that. And I'd heard all these things before, but when you're focused on it, you're like, I hear that, I'm going to go for it 100%, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
For some reason, it just hit differently that time. I was like, I saw my future of pursuing acting the way I had been doing it. I was like, I can't do this. I can't be like in my 40s and still like going to the classes and going to the auditions and not, having anything hit, and there are no guarantees in any creative profession. Obviously you do it because you like it, or you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
I said, I still love the art of acting, but I don't want to do the pursuit of it the way that I've been doing. So I decided to at the time, I met a few people that did live streaming, like on Twitch and things like that. I thought, that seems like a dream come true kind of job where you're just hanging out, playing video games, chatting with your friends,
Right.
And so I started doing it off and on throughout 2019, just like here and there. I had a PS4 with a camera, and it was super janky, but it's like, I'm streaming, And then in early 2020, just before everything got locked down, I said, look, I'm going to do this 3 days a week. I'm going to set these hours. This is going to be my stream thing. And then the lockdowns hit, and I was like, well, okay, now I guess I'm really going to do it, And by that time I was like, look, acting all got shut down, and my heart wasn't really in that pursuit of it anyway. So I just went full on, going for the streaming thing. And then middle of 2020, I started doing the Gameology videos. And I got a call from somebody at VME, Veterans in Media and Entertainment, which is a great group out here that I would recommend to any current or former military people looking to get into the entertainment industry. It's an advocacy group. It's a networking group. And they have a really good, kind of thing going on. And they called me up and said, hey, we got this connection at this this Gameology thing. They want to know you if you're interested. And I was like, oh, that sounds fun, talking about video games. And then that's why I met Cameron Fath, who was a great guy, super hard chart, hardcore dude, and former Ranger. He's actually still in the Guard, but
nice.
that's when we met, started doing them. Yeah. and those have actually been fairly successful. I'm pretty honored that people have really liked them, and then they started letting us shout out our stuff at the end of each video. So it's like, hey, if you want to hang out with me, twitch.tv/MyHappySelf,
Yeah.
and boom, man, boy, that just caused a lot of explosive growth kind of early on my stream, to the point where I am today, and it's just been, it's just been pretty amazing. And so now, kind of just like about 2-3 months ago, I said, look, I stopped coaching, I stopped doing massage, and I said, look, I'm going to be a content creator full time. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to commit. And so, it's so that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, just to hear your story from start to end, that's crazy. Uh, yeah, man. So the Gameology thing, obviously, that's how a lot of people started picking up. And the very first one, I think, what was it? The Spec Ops: The Line, I think, was the one y'all reacted to. I I don't
Yeah, I
remember.
think Arma was Arma and Squad, and then I think Spec Ops: The Line was one of the early ones. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, though, just seeing you guys go through all that and just reacting to that, I my first thought was just like, who are these guys? What? just just random guys. And then when I saw you start wearing the VME shirts, I was like, yo, I'm in that group. And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and because what I was doing, um, you know, I run the volunteer production studio, and I was just, like putting out little posts in the group in the VME. I was like, hey, whoever wants to collaborate, let's do something, And then I would just post little things here and there, and then when I saw the VME pop up, I just immediately commented. I was like, yo, VME's an awesome group. So. I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't know that y'all were, or well, maybe just you, but whoever. I didn't know that that you had affiliation with them. So that's pretty sweet. I don't know, man. That's a lot. That's a lot that you are going through. Real quick, we have Alpha Zulu Kia. I don't India. I don't.
Osme?
Huh?
Osme?
Yeah, yeah, and he or she is asking. So when will you read Osmi's story?
Oh man, Osme, I'm looking at it right now. It's on my desktop. Old Castle, first draft, right here. I'll read right now. He had consciously taken deep breaths to keep himself calm. So it's true. It's right here, my friend. He said this to me. He's like, "Gotta read my story." I was like, I have 20 other things I got to do. I'm sorry, it's right there.
I understand. I've actually when I joined your Discord, I actually put out there. I put out there what I do, and I like to collaborate. And that's the first thing that Osmi reached out to me. I was like, "Hey, let's do something with this story." And I was like, "All right, I'll take a read at it." So I read that story.
Oh, it's awesome, man. Now I got to read it. Now I got to catch up.
Yeah, it's really do you watch anime first of all?
Yeah. Not a long time. I'm not caught up on the latest and greatest, but yeah, I've been watching anime since the Akira Robotech days.
Oh,
Ooh,
nice,
okay.
nice. There's an anime on Hulu called Gate. Old Castle actually reminds me of Gate.
Yes.
Way more magical than Gate is right now, from what I've seen. Um, getting a little shout out to Osmo,
Yeah,
just a
I
little
saw a
plug.
clip from it.
What's your
Yeah, I
favorite?
know. My favorite anime?
Yeah.
I like all the Miyazaki stuff. I remember watching. It was called Warriors of the Wind at the time, and it was like an English dub, but it's Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. It's a Miyazaki Studio Ghibli, production way back in like 1986 or seven or something like that. And I remember seeing that on HBO back when HBO didn't have any original content. They were desperate for whatever. I remember seeing that in like my life. I've never forgotten that. That's one of my favorite movies to this day. It left an indelible mark and it cemented my love for sci-fi and fantasy stuff.
Speaking of sci-fi and fantasy,
Uh-huh.
A perfect
yeah, yeah, perfect timing, good sir.
transition.
So, I have asked a le question one time to you, and I asked, do you like Warhammer 40K? And you said you're a casual fan. Now, what kind of casual
Yes.
fan is casual?
Casual fan for me means like grown up being exposed to some degree or another to Warhammer. Like my brother, who's super into like he's into black metal, he's into like hardcore stuff. Like he was into Warhammer 40K, and I got exposed to like I played Space Hulk on the PS1.
Oh, nice.
Samael, and they are my death when they die. And all that kind of stuff. And, I actually started. I had one of the novels, and for the life of me, I don't know where it went. But I got the Horus Heresy Part 1. I went to. It was in Scotland. It was in Edinburgh, I think. I went to a store, like it was like a Warhammer store, and I bought like a backpack and I bought a book. Yeah. And so I've played. I got Space Marine on the PS3, but like so that kind of stuff. Like, and I've always liked that kind of world. Like my brother used to have the books, the role playing books, and all that kind of stuff. So I like all that kind of stuff. So it's like the perfect blend of sci-fi and fantasy. It's like this really dark, gritty future. What was the saying? It was like, in the dark future,
there's
only war.
I was like, I love that. I actually see, and here's another thing. I've had a lot of exposure to like Nathan Long is an author who's written a couple of Warhammer 40K books. And he's a friend of a friend out here. So like we've had dinner together, and I know
nice.
that he's an author here and stuff. So it's things like that have exposed me. Like read a couple of short stories that like in some of the collections, tales from all around. I remember the one of the guy. He was they were in this. They got done a plan. There's like being overrun by these monsters, and I remember he has to separate himself and he has to blow this thing up and he gets captured by this dude who like does experimentation. He needs his gene. Like he thought that he like was like had saved. He'd blown some stuff. He thought he had saved. The unit from being exposed to this guy. He's like collects these genes and like creates these monsters out of them. But then he doesn't realize that he's got one in himself. And so he's like screaming. He's trying to get out, and the guy's like getting ready to experiment on him. And then there's so many.
Yeah, it sounds like a fabulous
model.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm actually reading his series now. It's so good.
Right on. Yeah. So it's just always it's basically it's like they're like knights, and there's like this kind of code, and there's like these real. It's the kind of grim, kind of hardcore. There's only your duty. There's only your obligation. There's only war. There's only the mission. That kind of stuff, and it's like this kind of. There's a kind of like an honor and a code and stuff like that, but it's like wrapped in a really kind of grim, kind of, context and stuff. I always just really appreciated that. The militaristic, the kind of Knights of the Round Table kind of stuff, the old world, but like wrapped up in this cool kind of sci-fi fantasy.
Yeah, it does it in a way that a lot of stories or writers are too afraid to go that far,
Yeah.
And it makes it much more engaging.
Man.
One of the you mentioned the old and the new. One of my favorite memes I've seen is those two guys dressed up as Roman soldiers with like a MG42. It's like Warhammer 40K, and like underneath, it's like that makes sense.
Man.
Before I hand over questions to Lycan, I have one last question about Warhammer for you. What is your favorite faction?
All right, man. So listen, this is like, here's the deal. Like I had to like do a little bit of research, and it's like a really obscure reason why, but like my brother has read a lot of the books, and I remember just the cover of one, and it was the Wolf Legion, or the Wolf.
Oh, the Space Wolves.
Space Wolves. There you go.
Yes.
And it was about one dude. I think it was a novel just about one guy who's kind of a loner. But the whole Space Wolf thing, I think that's just kind of cool, because it's like a little bit of Nordic and a little bit of the sci-fi, kind of blending together. So anything where they got like the hardcore code, like this is who we are, and we bow to no one, and they're like a little bit of the rebels. So the Space Wolves, I would have to say, if I had to pick one, Now correct me if I'm wrong, the Ultramarines are a faction too, right? So they're all called Space Marines.
Yeah.
But there's different chapters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, cool.
Yeah,
and they all
Ultramarines.
have their thing.
Yeah, Ultramarines are just the poster boys of Space Marines, though. That's all they.
Yeah, they're kind of your generic like everyman type of thing.
Okay, all right, cool, cool.
All right, Lycan, you got a few
But I really
questions?
like the Space Wolves too because they're kind of like they act like savages, but they're actually also just as intelligent, if not more so, and they use that to their advantage. You know?
Yeah, right on. The mystique that they have.
Yeah.
All right,
That's cool.
real quick. I have to go hand something off to my wife. Take over, Lycan. I'll be right back.
Okay. So have you ever actually played like the tabletop?
Nope, never have, man.
Never.
My brother used to collect them. Like he had some figurines, but I never actually played.
Would you consider?
Oh, brother. No, right now, if, in all honesty, I'd have to say no, but only because I'm just too busy right now, man.
Yeah,
Like,
I feel that.
yeah.
I know. I barely get time to really meet up with people and play.
Oh, you know what?
But
One thing I can say in reference to that, like when I was growing up, I grew up in Lancaster, Palmdale area, which is kind of the Antelope Valley north of Los Angeles. And there used to be a place called Firebase, and it was an all tabletop gaming store. So they
Oh,
had
yeah.
4 giant tables with
Ooh.
all the kind of the little grade 8, the hills and the bushes and the
Yeah,
snake, and they used to have like the measuring sticks,
yeah.
I used to just watch them play games because they had the painted figures and stuff. That was what I really
Mm.
admired was all the painted figures and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's so fun when you get a nice group of people with good painting
Yeah.
skills together. I have a little group at our local comic book store. We play small games like that.
That's cool. How was
So I
that?
could just imagine.
How was that affected? Did you was it greatly affected during like lockdowns and stuff like that?
Yeah, they had to stop doing it for a while, but then as the case numbers started getting better, and now we got vaccines, it's opened up a bit more, and we're kind of starting to do it more frequently.
All right,
Right on.
I am back.
Welcome back.
Okay. Oh wow, that is a loaded question, Alpha, or Asmi. Asmi asks, I wonder how a space army works. In Warhammer 40k, it is heavily loaded with details that would just keep going if we talked about it. Yeah,
It's a good question.
yeah, it's a heavy question. Essentially, mankind has explored the galaxy and is under constant attack by heretics within mankind and aliens, and we created like genetic warriors to fight off a lot of crap. So that's just
With
like
the help of those heretics, cough, cough.
yeah. We'll explain Logar like later in the future, but not now. Logar was one of the main reasons.
I was referring to how the Emperor made or at least like it's hinted at that he made a pact with the Chaos Gods to learn how to create them.
Really? When was that?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you, but that's kind of the accepted thing.
Oh, kind of like how his birth was like that semi-accepted theory.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
Love
I
it.
mean, there's probably something written somewhere, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
that's
I know
crazy.
I've heard that so many times.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That,
Yeah, so like he made a pact with them to create the Primarchs, and then he went back on the deal for whatever the deal was, and then that's why they scattered them throughout the universe.
Is that with the recent release of what's his name? Constantine, I think was his name, the head custodian.
I have no idea.
Oh my god, dude! Why don't you know this? You're
I'm
the
sorry.
expert.
I know. I'll look it up and
Nah,
try to see if I can
just
find
joking,
more of
dude.
that.
It's cool. Yeah, but yeah, there's a recent story coming out that had come out about like the official what happened, and there, yeah, what's his name shows up, and he's all like, "Yo, Emperor, what happened?" And he goes, "They're everywhere." Blah 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 blah, and that was like
There
the
you go.
first and only time he felt fear or something like that. Clearly it was the gods when they captured the Primarchs and released them out there.
Yeah, but now you know the context.
Yeah, now it all makes sense as to why that happened.
Yep.
So, what did I miss?
We're just talking a little bit about the tabletop.
Yeah.
Oh god, man. So boy, do I have a story about tabletop. my happy self, Mr. Wright.
Oh boy.
What's your experience with tabletop? Like, have you had good experiences, or have they just been like, even though you just like from a distance you've watched, or how's it been?
Yeah, just a distance. I was telling him about this place I used to watch. I used to watch people do tabletop gaming. It was a little store called Firebase out in Lancaster where I grew up. So I've had exposure to it even as early as like kind of the early '90s. You know.
Oh wow, that's yeah, that's actually I didn't have any exposure up until like while I was in the military. Speaking of which, um,
No way.
yeah, and I had just gone on a ruck because my unit loved to force people that were trying to like go on leave to do the crazy crap before you go on leave. Um, and I had gotten injured on that ruck, trying to be all hua hua. So um, I pretty much go home, visit my cousin. My cousin's like, "Hey, let's go see Games Workshop since you're into Warhammer." And we go, and I'm limping everywhere because clearly I'm injured. And the freaking the clerks are just treating me like complete shit. At when I get out the store, and my cousin's like, "Yeah, apparently they thought you were that you hated the hobby and that you were just like gonna ruin everything about the hobby." I was like, "What?" And clearly they knew my cousin, and I guess he told them about me. And being in the army is what did it. Because apparently there's a stereotype of being like a jock and being in the army for them, and they just had an idea of I don't know. I don't know what that was.
That's funny.
Yeah, but that's my quick story about tabletop experience. I never got into it because of that.
And then peace of mind audio
Yeah,
interviews were born.
yeah, yeah. A lot of that
There you
is the
go.
reason why. Have you come across any type of like crazy stereotypes placed upon you for being in?
Mm. Well, I mean, no, not too many crazy like stereo. Well, so the things that I get usually since being out are like like, oh, you were in the army or you were deployed to Iraq. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, it must have been so emotionally and mentally scarring for you. And I get that. Like, obviously, people have different experiences, and there's some, I mean, being in a war zone is not a normal experience that most people will ever have to be in, And
Yeah,
there's some traumatic stuff that happens, yeah. But I had a great time in Iraq. I did the thing. I did my job. I liked doing my job. I had a good time. Granted, I was never in any kind of like Black Hawk Down type situations where you're cut off and you're under fire constantly, and it's this wild, crazy experience and stuff. I mean, I did my job, but the situation never arose.
yeah,
So it's little things like that. Like, oh, are you okay? And it's like, no, I'm fine. I had a good time in the army. And they're like, oh, so you hear so many stories, and you do, and those stories are legitimate, for the most part. But that was just not my experience. Um, and also, and one thing I'm having to do, like, in order to rise to the occasion, but like people hear I'm a Green Beret, and they're like, oh, well, it's just all this kind of like, whoa, buddy, you must have done this, and this, and I did a lot of cool stuff, but like now I'm having to kind of like recapture some of like the honor by like kind of getting back into more like the technical stuff and weapons knowledge and stuff. Not that like, you know,
yeah.
not that I, it's not
I
that I
understand.
have to, but I want to. I want to kind of rise to the prestige and the honor that a Green Beret kind of like that idea kind of projects. So it's a challenge for myself.
Yeah, no,
Hmm.
I understand. I mean, it comes with a name. Everybody knows about it. It's kind of already like, well, clearly you had to do something to get there. You weren't just like
Sure.
chosen just to like, hey, go ahead, hop on in. No, you had to do something. You had to overcome some sort of terrible experience, which was selection, quote unquote. Um,
Sure.
yeah, some people it's easy, some people it's not. Um, so for that, and then what, like 2 years worth of, or a year's worth of training for SOCOM itself, I think, and
Hmm.
bam, you're in a unit. So that's
Right.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to go through. But being out for as long as you've been out, I mean, I wouldn't expect. I, I don't expect you to start reciting everything you once knew. you know,
Right.
it's a big give and take. It's been a few years, you know.
Right,
uh,
right, yeah. But it's good. It's good to be in this environment and good to be exposed to a lot of people that are like super fans and are really into like military and weapon stuff because I'm down with that. You know, I like shooting and all that kind of stuff, and it's fun being in that environment, and kind of having to like relearn that stuff because my brain has been very relaxed for a number of years. You know, up to this point, so it's like, well, it's time to start learning again. Time to start getting into that training mentality again. You know, I like that.
yeah, yeah. It does bring a nice little structure and maybe muscle memory back to you. So shit. I just put my phone down. Sorry, I had all the questions right there and the general idea of what to talk about. Yeah, my wife threw me off. She was texting me wanting some food, and I was like, "Oh damn, I'm in the middle of doing this."
Yeah,
Right.
that's important.
So, what would you like to say to any veterans or active service members who might be struggling to get into a creative habit going into the
Oh,
military?
oh man, that's a you know, I mean, I suppose like what my team sergeant told me, like if there's something you want to do, you got to go do it. You know, don't. One thing, I turned 40 last year, and
Oh,
it's yeah, it's wild. I'm a fan. I like birthdays. I like growing. I like getting older. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun. But
It's a good attitude to
so
have.
yeah,
yeah,
right.
I like doing new things, and I've never been 40 before, so it's a good experience. But like, one thing that I think about, and one thing that kind of motivates me in a healthy way, is that life is short, man.
Yeah, for
Life is
sure.
short. It's preciously short, and if you got something you want to do, it doesn't matter how hard it might be or what your circumstances are. You gotta go for it. You gotta go for it. And I'm not saying I know that there's a lot. I talk to a lot of young guys and stuff too. Like they're in bad situations. They're up against it. They have no resources. They have little to no support. And a lot of them, the military is kind of a way out, and a way to kind of get those opportunities. And I applaud that. But like, man, you got to do it. You got to do it. You always have an excuse. There will always be a reason not to. And it's so funny. I'm talking. I'm like, God, it sounds like all the cliche things you hear, like in the rah inspirational Instagram accounts, of military dudes.
Right.
But
Yeah,
a lot of it's true, man. A lot of it's true. Life is short. You're gonna die someday. What are you gonna do? And so the creative career is, it's a certain path, right? You could go and you can get a job, you can go to an office or have a structure, or something like that, and there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. When you choose to do something creative, or you kind of take, your career in your hands, you try to create something for yourself. That's not easy, but like like the military and stuff, like when you are put into these challenges, it forces you to work and to it's like it's a there's a I don't know if you guys know Jordan Peterson at all, but it's the order and the chaos, right? You got
Hmm.
a lot. If
yeah,
you have too much order, you become stagnant, but if you have too much chaos, then you go crazy, you'll die. So it's like if you're in a situation, even though it's a miserable situation, maybe that's actually a form of order. It's not a very good order, but you got to create a little bit of chaos. You got to introduce those struggles, and the act of introducing those struggles are what help your brain and your mind and your body to develop. It's like working out, and it's hard, man. I'm challenged every single day because I'm a person who likes structure, because I'm an accommodating personality, and I'm kind of a bit of a phlegmatic, and all these things with temperament stuff. Like, but I've chosen a profession where I have to create my own schedule. I have to learn new skills that I'm completely unfamiliar with, and I have to do it all the time. And I have to create my own, off time and when to switch off and how social media and software programs and all this kind of stuff.
yeah.
But I just the alternative is just the alternative is it's not an option,
Just
you
being
know.
just being stagnant. uh,
Hmm.
Yeah.
yeah, no. Yeah, I'm glad you do what you do because it's great. It's great seeing your streams and all. The freaking, what do you call them? Floof and what? The other one?
Floof and Odyssey. Yeah, here I am, a Green Beret, and I got two puppets with me. I got a fish puppet named Odyssey, and I got a dragon puppet named Floof, and I just think that's hilarious.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Putting little characters, just creating on spot and going with it.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
so before we end this, would you like to promote something, whether it be your own Twitch or via me or whatever it is?
I definitely, let me say this first. VME organization out here in Los Angeles, and they have chapters elsewhere. You might have to check in major cities, but that's a good organization. It's good for that connection. They really, the one out here, the chapter out here in LA, they really work hard. They try to provide opportunities, not just for like acting, but like producing, writing, directing. They do workshops. They hold, online sessions and stuff during the lockdown. And Karen Kraft, who's the president of VME, she's a really stand up gal. She really does a lot, and she goes out there. She shakes hands and kisses babies and gets the funding, and gets brings home the bacon, and you know does a lot of really good for the organization, and I owe them a lot because I got that first call for the Gameology one, and that's really helped my creative career a lot. So VME, so as VMEconnect.org is their website, so I would shout that out. And then also, I'm streaming 3 days a week now, uh, Mondays and Wednesdays, 3 to 8 p.m. Pacific time, and Friday mornings, 7 a.m. until noon. My channel is called My Happy Self, so you can go to twitch.tv/MyHappySelf. And I'm all over social media. It's either My Happy Self or My Happy Self number 2. My Happy Self 2 or My Happy Self. YouTube, I'm on the Instagrams. You can find me there. I try to, as much as I can, with the amount of growth that I have at the point where I'm at, to interact with people, to answer emails and DMs. If I haven't gotten back to you yet, I will. It's just taken me a while. But yeah, man, that's where you can find me, and I'm just gonna keep growing, keep moving forward, and keep trying to create something that will bless people, lift people up, help to try to provide them a kind of community where they can feel welcome, have fun together. That's kind of what I'm about, and then kind of how they find me is through the avenue of kind of the connection of, military interest and weapons interest and things like that. And also being a gigantic nerd.
That's awesome, bro.
Yeah, of course, of course. And one last little thing: there's a hidden secret about Israel, right? And when you come across it, let them know about it. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
I don't know, man. There's a couple secrets.
Oh my!
This is a PG secret. This isn't no rated R secret. Yeah.
I mean, on like Pornhub or RedTube or anything like that.
Okay, it's on YouTube. All right, it's not anywhere crazy. It's just go to YouTube.
Oh, there's a bunch of fun little Easter eggs on YouTube. You just type in my name and that'll come up.
Yeah, you'll come across it. All links that we have talked about will be in the description. Then be sure to check out Israel Wright, and be sure to check out Lycan over at the Tower 115 podcast, where he does a lot of Warhammer 40k if you want to see more of that. And of course, check out my channel if you want to see a lot of random music and audio dramas that I write and work with my production peoples. Other than that, that's all I got for today. I appreciate you coming by, my dude.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, man. I've had a really good time hanging out with both of you, and I hope people enjoy this.